So, hello and welcome to my next chess video here. We have the move castling. I let them play some kind of Italian game or two knights defense. I will quickly show you the opening moves here. We have the move e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6 defending the pawn, bishop c4, knight f6, attacking, counter-attacking the e-pawn, and now we have the move d5. And the move d takes, and then the move e5 and counter-attacking the bishop via d5, bishop b5, knight to e4 and knight takes e4, and now the move bishop to d7, which I kind of like this move. I often played it against Johannes, good friend of mine from the university, and yeah. Now I let them play bishop takes and bishop takes. The main line goes with with pawn takes, but okay, bishop takes is also possible. This is what I played against Johannes. Now we have the move castling and the move bishop c5. Okay, now the knight is kind of threatened. Well, not really. It's defended by the queen. Still. Maybe something like knight c3 is dangerous, but let's go with this. Let's look at it. Knight c3, knight takes c3, for example. Pawn takes c3, solidifying the knight. Then castling, and for example something like bishop to e3 could be played. Rook to e8 and f4, maybe something like this, and I think it's around equal, this position. But okay, you don't have to play knights here, you can also go bishop here immediately, and then for example castling. What is after f3 now? f3 looks pretty good. Maybe not castling. Let's see. Bishop c5. What about f3 immediately? Knight has nowhere to go. At least I don't see a square for the knight. But okay, this knight is pinned, so what to do after f3? All the squares here the knight can go are protected. So, and here is the bishop. So I don't know. No, not this one. So not this one. Okay, f3, maybe bishop takes, followed by queen takes, and now, yeah, the knight still has no squares where it could move. Hard to say. Oh, yeah, sure, the knight has a square. Of course it has a square after f3. It can go here because the queen is protecting the knight. I missed this shortly, so we have not the move f3, would be a little bit silly. Then we have the move bishop e3. Okay, now maybe castling. At least I will castle. Maybe queen to c1 to threaten f3. Let's try queen c1. New variation. Now f3 is threatened, so you have to take this. And now maybe f5 even. f5 en passant, maybe. Knight takes, and this position should be around equal. Maybe slightly better for black, so okay, don't do that. Yeah, castling is not a mistake. Okay. But f3 now. No, f3. f3 makes nothing. So castling. Maybe knight here. No. You could play f3 here. Knight goes there, and then you could attack the knight via this move. And then maybe knight here. No, this doesn't. Yeah, it works. Takes. Takes. With check. Takes. And pawn takes. And after knight c3. No, knight c3 doesn't work here. You could go rook e1. Maybe this is possible, this line. But I doubt that f3 is played here. Instead of f3, what can white do here? We have to move castling. Instead of f3, what could white do here? Going for c4 takes. No, this doesn't seem right. Maybe c3. You have to do something with this knight here. You can also take here and go for something like this as white, with knight c3 to follow. Yeah, but then after d5, this knight has to move. And now knight e6 followed by c5. Maybe not this, because then maybe d3 even. So yeah, it's possible though, this kind of line. It's possible to go knight takes f3 is a move, knight takes c3, and even queen c1 is a move, I guess. There are a lot of options. We have the move f3 on the board. Okay, now this line is pretty forced. Here the knight has to go to g4, to g5, and see, maybe even, yeah, now you can play knight c3. Now you can play knight c3. And yeah, this position, it's interesting. It's very interesting. You can also maybe go bishop takes here, and after queen takes or bishop takes, you can also go knight g4 now, but then you have to worry about this move maybe, followed by something like this, although the knight is defending the mate threat at the moment. But you can also go bishop g5 here, followed by bishop f6, and with the simple plan of f4, f5. So, but I prefer the move knight g5 immediately. And now the move knight c3. Black has a bishop pair, but it can be removed at any point, at any time. After knight c3, what to play? Maybe rook to e1 to attack this pawn right here. Maybe defend it with f4, attacking the knight again. The knight hops back there. Now you can exchange it and maybe go for... Yeah, the problem is this bishop is not defended, so you always lose this with check. But this pawn formation, it looks very aggressive for white. Let's see what Houdini does here. I don't think this is what Houdini is going for. But okay, knight g5. I will play knight g5 here. And after knight c3, okay, attacking this pawn, you could also go f6 maybe. f6. What about f6 here? Yeah, we have to move knight g5 by Houdini. What about f6 here? Takes, queen takes. Yeah, this looks very aggressive though for black. Let's go with this line, f6. Maybe something. No, this loses a pawn. You have to take. What about f4 here? The knight hovels. Does the knight hovel back? Or can you take here? It's very interesting though, taking here, taking there, taking... No, not taking here. You could take there, and after bishop takes you have this in-between move, rook takes with check, but then you maybe can take with the king. You have to take with the king or you lose a pawn. And then, no, not this one, bishop takes, queen takes, and queen takes here, and black is up a pawn. So yeah, f4 doesn't work here because of this line. So f6 maybe followed by, I don't know, maybe followed by something crazy like h4 even, but also then you can, no, you, how is this position? How is this position? Okay, one, oh wait, again black is up a pawn, so also h4 doesn't work. So yeah, let's go with f6. f6 by Houdini. After knight c3, of course, f6. I think Fritz will play knight c3. Now f6 maybe. Yeah, taking seems legit. Queen takes. Now you're on this knight twice. So maybe something like knight to d1, knight to e2. But this looks very grim for white. Again, trying to go for c4. Now this rook comes to the e file, attacking the bishop. The bishop moves. And I maybe have even some sacrifices there. Do you have some sacrifices? I don't know if the sacrifice works though. I don't think so. Okay, we have the move f4 instead of knight c3. The move f4 immediately. Okay, this changes things because now the knight has to go back here or here. Knight. Okay, where to go with the knight? Either here or here. both have some advantages. Let's try, no, not f5. f5 is clearly a bad move. Let's try that one. Probably something like e6 here. Yeah, we have this move. Probably something like e6 now. Although you can just take it, because you hang the bishop with check. Takes, bishop takes, check, king here. Yeah, you get at least the exchange back, but that's not enough, so e6 is not the move. It's an idea though. You can go king h1 to prepare e6 maybe. Takes, bishop e6. Let's play some random move for black. e6. Now you have to take there, and then you have a Zwischenzug with taking the f pawn, because if you take here, takes there, the queen is attacked and the bishop doesn't hang with check, so you win at least the exchange. So maybe king h1, but I doubt it. I doubt it. Also c3 might be possible here. c3 followed by maybe f5 or f6. After f6, I don't know, I would go with f5, because after f6 you have to move e6, bishop takes, pawn takes, and then you can maybe solidify this pawn with f5, so maybe f5 here. But then white has a protected passed pawn. So let's try f6 first. And e6. Bishop takes. Okay, we have to move knight c3, but let's follow this through. Again, bishop takes, pawn takes, and now f5. And this pawn is very weak, and probably it's gonna be lost. So, okay. We don't have c3, we have to move knight c6. Knight c3, I would take it and shadow the pawn structure here. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, black has the bishop pair, but white has more space. Yeah, okay, it's true, white has also a shadowed pawn structure on the queen side, and if black can play for d4 in the future to open up this bishop, then this would be very good news for the black team, but let's see. Maybe now e6 threatened. Yeah, we have to move knight takes c3, of course, shattering the pawn structure. F takes and c takes, the only move. c3, d4. Okay, f6, d6, bishop takes, bishop takes. Let's follow this through. f6, d6, bishop takes, bishop takes, f5. And is this pawn a weakness or a strength? We will see. We will see. f5 to stop f5 from black. No, not this one. Maybe here to go to this square g3. Maybe after rook here, queen g3, rook here defending. Yeah, you have to defend the mate. Maybe rook here, and then the other rook comes, or no, not this one. I would take this one, because this one could maybe go to b1 or to d1. Looks kind of equal, maybe slightly better for white even. So this is not what Houdini wants to do here, f6. At least I don't think so. What else can you do as black here? f6 looks kind of normal. f6 looks kind of normal, yeah. Okay, we have to move bishop back to d7. Maybe going c3, not c5, maybe even c5, move the bishop back and then c5, but c6, also maybe planning to go somewhere with the queen, maybe to h4, 4, or even some very aggressive plan with g4. g4, no, g4 doesn't work. g4 doesn't work though. Yeah, would be so. What's the plan by Houdini? I would still go for f6 at some point. Yeah, maybe this is preparing f6. If king h1, for example, f6, e5, e3, then you can take here. You have to take back, and then black won a pawn there. We have 6 against 7 pawns, opposite colored bishops, so maybe it's preparing f6. Maybe Houdini is preparing f6 here. Very interesting move, this bishop to d7. Yeah, because here it was just a big pawn. Okay, I understand this move. It prepares f6 and then it prepares c6. I will go king h1 now as white, to threaten maybe something like knight here, forking. For example, some random move here, h3, then forks everything, this one. And if you take the knight, you can take the bishop attacking the rook. So, and this bishop is again blocked in, so maybe something like king h1. I would go king h1 maybe, to go, and the other one is to go out of this diagonal. So it could be a very deep move and a very good move. Also, the other move I kind of see is this move rook b1 to attack here on b7, but then maybe f6, even f6. Well, then you can just take here. I don't know if you can take here, because bishop here kind of traps the rook, and now queen here is threatened. So yeah, or bishop here even. For example, d6 and bishop here, and now the rook has nowhere to go. So maybe it's not a threat to take this pawn. But okay, we have a different move. After bishop to d7, we have the move queen d2, connecting rooks. Maybe now f6. f6 is an idea here. This doesn't work because you take here, and if you take the bishop, you have this in between check and taking the pawn back, and now white's pawn structure is shattered, and also black is up a pawn, so this doesn't work, this e6. So maybe just take the pawn, but then maybe queen takes. f6 seems to be a good move here. What else can you do as black? I would go with f6. Can you ignore this? Go, for example, king h1 now. Then takes, rook takes. Okay, we have the move b6. Rook takes. What about this position? Is this threatened now? Takes. 6 versus 6. Maybe a slightly better for black, but okay. We don't have f6. We rather have the move after queen d2. We have the move b6. What does b6 do? Okay, it protects the bishop. Okay, quite like Fritz's position here. I have to say, it's although black has the bishop pair there, but white has some space advantage, and yeah, this is kind of good. Now we have to move rook d1, rook a d1, putting some x-raying the pawn here. So maybe now c6 even. Can you just take this pawn? What? You cannot take this pawn, of course not. Why would you take this pawn, computer? Bishop takes, check, and then bishop takes here, and black is a clear pawn up, so this doesn't work. So maybe c6 now. But it looks very... I don't know about c6. Isn't there anything better? Well, king h1, because white also has no fast plan here, or maybe yes, maybe that one here. And then bishop takes. No, now you kind of have to play f6, or haven't you? And now e6. And okay, this would have been better for white, but I think Houdini has something else in mind. Instead of c6, Houdini takes a knight. We have queen takes, bishop. Now also f5, f6 is an idea. But okay, now Houdini could... No, Houdini cannot play f6. Houdini has to take care of this pawn. So maybe bishop e6. Okay, this taking here stops the move f5. So, okay, maybe bishop here. Okay, we have the move bishop there, going for the end game maybe. Queen takes, rook takes, and bishop takes there, but this is a draw. There is no advantage for black or for white either. No side has any advantage here. Opposite colored bishops, this looks like a draw to me. But yeah, I don't know. Giving up the d pawn. Okay, we have something more interesting though. We have the move c5. c4. But you can just take it, or can't you? Oh, queen takes, another queen is threatened. Also the pawn here, if the queen moves somewhere, so the queen has to keep an eye on this pawn, and then I don't know. Looks interesting. I wouldn't take the pawn. It looks very passive here for black. If you take the pawn, c6, yeah, I could transpose to this endgame. After takes, queen takes, rook takes, and bishop takes c2. We're equal on pawns. Opposite colored bishops, so yeah. But okay, you could also go, maybe after c5 you could go bishop takes bishop takes c2 immediately, attacking the rook. But yeah, okay, we have the first thing I looked at. We have the move pawn takes, and now we have the move queen takes. Do you give up this pawn or you keep this pawn? This is the question here. You get it back. You get it back. So something like queen h4, for example. If you take the pawn here, you get either rook f or rook a. I would take the a rook. And then the queen has to move somewhere. Maybe take a pawn, and then rook takes c2. And white has a lot of activity for the pawn. But is it enough? Maybe queen h4 is not the best move, but I just wanted to illustrate this. The queen has to move because it's attacked from the rook. But where does the queen go? Where does the queen go? Also, queen here is possible. Also keeps an eye on this pawn. Queen here. If I'm honest, it looks better for white. This position right here, it looks better for white, but let's see. Just took a cigar, not a cigarette, a cigarillo. Okay, yeah, queen e2 doesn't look that promising for black, but I don't know if there is something better. Let's see. c5 doesn't work because the queen is under attack. Yeah, I would go with. Yeah, we have to move queen, not queen h4. We have to move queen to e2, queen to e7. I would have gone for this. Yeah. For not for this, for the other move. Queen h4 looked more aggressive to me, but I don't know what the queen is doing on h4. Maybe you cannot give up the c-pawn. And maybe this attack is not that great, and this queen to e7 protects the e-pawn, and you can put a rook on the e file, on the d file, to exchange one pair of rooks. But okay, now we have to move a4, trying to get rid of the next weakness in white's camp. So Fritz is playing here pretty good chess, I think. But also Houdini's position is not that bad either. Maybe a5 now to stop this. Maybe a5, and now the weakness there. You kind of want to go g4, but if you play rook f3 to g3, you get bishop to g4 securing. So this doesn't work at the moment. You can maybe double on the d file, but if you try to double, you immediately get rook d1 or the other rook. It doesn't really matter. And then you exchange everything on the d file. But okay, we don't have a5. We have to move rook f to d1, challenging the rook on the d file. So yeah, To me it looks equal, maybe slightly better for white, but kind of equal. Let's compare those positions. White has more space in the center and has a more aggressive queen, but black has no weaknesses in his camp. White, though, has two weaknesses, the c-pawn and the a-pawn. Those are two isolated pawns, so maybe if it goes down to an endgame, this could be an advantage for black, but we have opposite colored bishops, so probably this is kind of equal. Okay, now you cannot exchange on the d-file because the rook in the corner would hang with check. You could probably take here, and after queen takes a8 you can go back with the rook to d8. So I want to show you that. You can either exchange and go for the d-file, or you can take the rook in the corner, and then this rook hovels back, and it's also around equal. I don't know. You can take the a-pawn maybe. Maybe this is something. But now the queen is somewhere in Siberia, and also the c-pawn would hang. So it's equal on pawns, and yeah. That's why Fritz doesn't touch the rook in the corner. It rather goes for the d-file, and now maybe the other rook comes here, and we get exchanged everything, and this is a drawn kind of end game. But okay, now I know how to play this opening with black and with white. Yeah, as I said, no, not here. This was just what I wanted to show you. Now the rook comes here, and yeah, I would exchange it, and I don't know. This is nothing. Maybe here takes, but then you give black a passed a-pawn. Although those two are isolated, so, and it's still opposite colored bishops, so I think it's a draw. But yeah, what else can you do there? I would exchange rooks here as white. Maybe put the rook back to f3 to g3 to maybe try something, but I think it's just too slow and it doesn't work. Yeah, we have the rook exchange, and now maybe a5 and this kind of position. Maybe the a-pawn will fall, but then the c-pawn will fall. But no, maybe a5 isn't that great because of queen here check, but even this is nothing because there's always this mate threat on the back rank, so there are no reasonable checks. White has to take here, black has to take here with check. Now white has to go for the queen exchange. Now black takes here, and this is a draw. I don't know. Maybe this is better for black because you have two connected passed pawns. Maybe this is something to work with, but it's still opposite colored bishops, and that's why I think even this is a draw. But as white, you don't have to go for a5. You can just keep the a-pawn right here. It's protected by the queen. Also the c-pawn is protected by the queen. The queen is very strong. It puts pressure on the c-pawn. It maybe threatens some mate. So maybe white has to go h6 or g3 at some point. We will see what what white comes up with. Okay, white plays a waiting move, h3, but it looks pretty dry here, this position, pretty drawn. No advantage for either side, I would say. Maybe white is slightly, I don't know, h3, h6 I would go here, make some breathing room for the king. Also now this check is not that big of a threat. No, h6 doesn't seem necessary. You could win a pawn here. Now king h1, this is h2, this is the point. No, now you cannot take the pawn because mate is threatened. This is not check. So you have to, if you want to threaten to win a pawn, you have to go h6. No, not a5 here. h3 was played. h6. I will go for h6. I need a lighter. So, Houdini didn't play a move yet, but I think h6 is gonna be the move. Houdini 4 is gonna play. At least I will play h6 here. And after h6, I will let them play 5 more moves, and then I will end this game and call it a draw. Because I think this is drawn. Very instructive game though, very instructive. But this is just a draw. I think it's equal. It's just equal. Yeah. White can't do anything here. Let's see what Fritz comes up with. What Houdini comes up with here. h6 looks pretty normal. Or no, not g6. g6 kind of, yeah. Then the bishop doesn't have much squares. Okay, we have h5. Same idea. Now this queen to d1 is threatened. h5 is a better move because it stops g4 and maybe even well, h4 is kind of risky because the bishop could come to f2 and threaten the pawn here, but yeah, it stops g4 and threatens queen here, so maybe c4 or king h2, both of those moves stops this threat of winning a pawn here. I would go for c4 here. c4, maybe trying to go c5. But then maybe the queen comes in here, attacking the bishop. The bishop goes back. Now queen check here. The king has to go there, and now attacking the bishop. Bishop goes back, and now maybe h4 to have some ideas of going there. Threatening bishop takes here, followed by pawn takes and queen takes. Then the bishop has to block. Oh, okay, we don't have king h2. We rather have king f2. Okay, this is kind of better. Wait, no, not c5. We have this king f2, also stops this threat here, and now the bishop goes back here, and after g3 this is nothing. It's nothing for white. Let's see the evaluation from both sides, from both engines. Houdini thinks it's a little bit better for black. Also Fritz thinks it's a little bit better for black, minus 0.2. Fritz gives minus 0.2 and Houdini gives minus 0.5, but I think it's just a draw. I think it's still drawn, this position. It's just a draw. Nothing to play for. Okay, we have the move queen f3, attacking the h5 pawn, and now g3. g6 I will play here. Yeah, a couple of moves, and then I will call it a draw, because this position is just a draw in my eyes. Yeah, but now I know how to play this opening. There were other ideas here, so yeah, we have the move g6, and I think now I will call it a draw. It's just a draw in my eyes. So, opening up this, Partie abschätzen, draw. And yeah, it was a good game. I quite liked it, and see you next time. Ciao.